What's going on, y'all? Welcome back. It's us. Let's get productive. I was trying something new. I didn't really like that. Let's just keep it with the original. What's going on, y'all? Welcome back. It's us. Let's get productive. So today I wanted to bring something kind of new to this channel. I'm always trying to bring something new that you guys may not have come across or you may not have been thinking about adding to your workflow. And today we're going to talk about a VST that kind of feels like an effect, but it's a VST. It focuses solely on noise. This instrument is just noise, sound effects, particles, that kind of stuff. Ironically enough, the VST I'm talking about is called Noises, and it's by Audio Thing. Now, I wanted to bring this to the channel because I have a lot of hip hop producers that watch this channel, a lot of EDM, dance music creators that watch this channel, and it may be a plugin that you overlook because it's not Rompler based or synth based, and you just don't quite know where to go with it. So I wanted to bring it to the channel to show you guys some interesting things that you can create using noises and what this VST is all about. So without doing any more talking, let's get right into it. Noises, Audio Thing. Let's see what this thing is all about. So as always, I have Logic queued up, and this is Noises. Now, it's a really creative UI design. As you can see, it looks kind of like something you would see in a submarine. It has a real kind of analog, aggressive look to it. And there's a lot going on the screen. So you may feel a little bit overwhelmed just with all the knobs and the things that's happening because it's not just straightforward Rompler or synthesizer. You may not know what to do with all of this stuff, but I assure you this thing is super user-friendly. And once you get started, it's actually kind of fun to use. So it's basically described on the website as an experimental instrument that brings a lot of different noises and sounds and textures right to your DAW for you to add and layer on top of other instruments, or just add to your workflow however you want to use it. It's really creative, especially for lo-fi producers that are always looking for like nice ambiance and different things to add onto the background of your keys and your chords. You can use something like this to maybe not get your typical background sounding foley or ambiance. You can create something from scratch that's totally yours. And there's some other really cool things that I notice I can do with this that I'm going to talk about later. But first, let's go over the UI and talk a bit about what's happening here on the screen. So as you can see in the middle here, you have this wheel. Now, down here in the bottom, there's a bit of a noise sequencer here. And you can highlight any one of these square boxes, and each of these square boxes are represented by a different value on the wheel. So you'll notice as I scroll up with the wheel, you'll see the red dots down here kind of highlighting as I go through the wheel. So this sequencer is being controlled by this wheel here. And you'll notice I'm going back and forth. You can actually turn this thing on, and every instance of the sequencer that's represented by a different texture or variance of the noise will be spread across these 8 keys down here. And then when you turn this thing on, it'll just spread through all of the different noises. So just to give you an idea of what that sounds like, let's just go through some presets here. As you'll notice as this wheel spreads through the sequencer, every time it gets to a new highlighted portion of the sequencer, it focuses on that. And you can highlight different portions of the sequencer and make some adjustments there. You can also, I'm gonna just stop this. You can also adjust the speed that the wheel is moving at right over here in this trip section. So you can turn this off and it won't move at all. It'll just focus the sound on whatever part of the sequencer that you want it to focus on, or you can turn it on and the wheel will move back and forth across all of the different tracks in the sequencer. You can adjust the speed here in the trip section. You can adjust the fuzziness. Over here next to fuzzy, you have pen and R&D, which basically represents pendulum and random, and you can go back and forth between these two modes to adjust the waveform. So pretty much the way that the wheel moves back and forth will be randomized if you put it on random, or it'll just be on simple pendulum mode, meaning it'll just sway back and forth. You have presets up here at the top, and you can go through these different factory presets and get some really interesting things. But down here in the bank section, you have your bank of actual recorded noises, right? So you have a cosmic chord section, cosmic roots, you have electroacoustics, And you can go through all of these different sounds and kind of create your own noise from scratch. Or you can go through the presets, which has settings already hooked up for you, and still scroll through the bank and just change the root noise that's being used. So the settings will stay the same, but the root noise that's being used will change. And that's really cool. When you look at this performance section, you'll see some really cool things that you can do to the noises. You have your level right here. You have your pitch that'll help you adjust some of the pitch frequencies and the noises. You have your output gain. You also have a trigger right here. And this is what's going to trigger the noises. Now, you have host mode and free mode. Because this is a VST that's kind of noise-based, it almost feels like it's a sound effect plugin and not so much a VST. But you're going to load it up as a VST. So it means it's something you're going to layer up as a sound underneath other sounds in your project. That being said, you have the option to choose between free mode. And when it's in free mode, as you can hear, whichever part of the sound is triggered is going to just play that sound the whole time. You can turn the off trigger and put it into host mode. And what that means is the sound is only going to play when you hit play in your session. So when the session is actually playing, it's going to trigger the noises that is in this thing and it's going to start playing. Now, someone like me, that's really cool if you're doing a live performance and stuff like that. But if you're making a track and you need to track out all of the different instruments in your track and bounce those instruments out, it's really simple. You just put this thing into host mode. You turn it into a MIDI, so I can just hold this note, and you draw it in for as long as you want the sound to play. So like say you want it to loop every 8 bars or every 4 bars. You draw that in, and then you just go to bounce in place, and now you've just bounced out the noise as an audio file down here. So you can actually delete the track itself and just leave the audio file. You can either delete the track that has noises on it, or you can just bypass the VST with that button right up here in the top right corner, and it'll turn the VST off. And that way, when you're playing your track, it won't play the noises from the VST itself. It'll just play the audio file right here. So pretty much what I'm saying is go crazy with this VST, create the sounds that you want to create. And then when you've gotten it to sound the way you want it to sound, just plug in a MIDI note and bounce that note out as an audio file, and you'll be able to just have the sound. Over here, we have your filter section. So if you were to play the instrument, you'll see that I can kind of adjust the high pass or low pass cuts of the sound effect itself. You can adjust the resonance of it. And then you can go down here to the crusher section and add a bit of distortion and bit rate to the noise sample itself. And you can play with the mix knob over here and just mix in how much of the distortion you want added to the sound. Like I said up here at the top left corner, you can play with the pitch of it. Then you can turn on trip mode down here, and you'll kind of get a flutter back and forth effect happening, kind of like a Doppler effect. You can adjust the speed. So that'll just help give a little bit of character to your noise. So it's not just a constant noise being played the whole entire time, but there's a little bit of flutter and different interesting things happening with the texture of the noise. The really cool thing about these noise banks is if you look right here, you'll see the eye. This thing gives you information about the noise that you're actually selecting. So it tells you what it is. So right here we have filter bank. If we press the eye, it's going to tell us what a filter bank is. One of the most coveted German-made fixed filter banks, the EMS B111, does its magic on pure noise. Heimbach applied extra feedback to sharpen the resonance of the filters so it makes the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. So they give you a bit of information on every single noise that you pick. You could go to military wires, and as you can see, It'll give you information about military wires. That way you can be a bit informed on the noises, and it also helps you apply it to your session and to your track because it'll help you find the right noise for your song and what it is you're looking for. And then you can just adjust those settings. And that's basically it. Even though there was a lot going on the UI, as you can see, it's very user-friendly and it's made for you to just have fun. Like, you don't have to sit here and overthink every little thing that you tweak and every little knob that you turn. This thing is made for you to make noise. This is all about noise, all about atmosphere and effect, and just bringing some new textures to the background of the sounds that you may have already playing in your session. So what we're gonna do right now is go through some of the presets of these noises just so you can hear them. And then after that, I'll show you how I applied it to one of my tracks. I'm gonna just scroll through the presets so you'll hear the different noises changing as I scroll through the presets. I really like this one. Another really cool thing about this is if you really like something, just like most VSTs, you can save your own presets. You also have a randomizer right here, this little dice right here. So if I just click the dice, it'll randomly go through a different noise. So that noise right there is really good for like a lo-fi beat. It has a bit of grit going on to it. It sounds like record crackle, but there's a little bit of popping in it as well. So let's use tape hiss. I can change the attack so that it's a little bit more aggressive and it doesn't fade in so much. So you could definitely use stuff like that in the background of your sessions. It's not all about beats. You know, you can use this if you're scoring a film and you need some ambiance in the background of a scene. You can use this for commercial use. There's a lot of usage that you can get out of this Noises VST. Even if you're a YouTuber and you're creating videos, you can use some of these noises as background effects for one of the shots in your videos. And so, yeah, I thought this was a really interesting VST that you guys might want to take a look at. So what we're going to do right now is I'm going to get into this pickup that I did and show you how I applied noises to this beat that I created. And I'll walk you through that process. So I have the beat queued up here, and I'm going to just walk you through some of the instances of noises that I have inside of this beat and show you how I used it. And then I'll play the whole beat and you can just hear it all come together, but I'm gonna just take you through the section. Now, one really cool way you can use noises is to help you create riser effects. And I use that in this beat. So I created a noise effect inside of noises, and I actually layered it with other sounds and kind of crescendo those things all together into a riser effect. And I'm gonna play that section so you can just hear what it sounds like. So this is the noise that I used. And then there's this one here. And then I layered that with a couple of rising sounds, and I'll play all of those sounds together with the noise that I use, and you can kind of hear what it sounds like. And like I said, you can create a really cool rising effect. The other way that I use noises in this beat is I used it in the intro of the track as just as some ambiance of to layer underneath this arpeggiated sound that I have going on. So I'll just play the noise first. And I have that layered up underneath this arpeggiator. And it just gave that sound more ambiance, and it kind of opened it up and put it in its own world. So it wasn't just sitting on a sound stage in your headphones. It kind of felt like it's sitting in a forest somewhere. Like it just opened the sound up. And then I used it also on this little breakdown section of the beat where I have these heavy synths playing. It almost has like a wishy-washy helicopter propeller sound effect going to it. And I just thought it sounded really cool layered up underneath these synths. It kind of made the synth sound more aggressive. So these are the synths without it. And then I added that noise kind of helicopter effect to it, and you'll just see it's kind of faint in the background, but it just gives it more aggression. So yeah, that's how I use noises on this track. And now I'm gonna play the beat so you can hear how everything came together. Now, quick disclaimer, as always, I didn't really, well, I won't say as always, but I didn't mix the beat this time. So this beat is not mixed down at all. Hopefully it doesn't sound too distorted in the headphones or anything. I'm gonna turn the volume down over here. But this is just something I put together really quickly just to show off kind of what you can do with noises. So let's check it out. And that's it. That's the beat I made using noises really quickly. I didn't actually finish the beat, so I'm probably gonna go back and add more to it and really bring it together the way it needs to be brought together. But I really enjoy using noises. I gotta say, in the end, obviously for background ambiance, but once I started creating risers with it, it really showed me that there's potential to do a lot of interesting things with noises that I maybe hadn't thought about before. You can really create some nice transitions between different parts of your song using the noises effect. So let me know what you guys think. Is this something that you think you can add into your arsenal? Is it something you're gonna check out? Let me know down in the comments section if there's any new VSTs or plugins that you want me to bring to this channel. And as always, if you're new to this channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you can stay notified anytime I drop a new video. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.